What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Roman, aka Allfires. Now, over the last 2 weeks, undoubtedly, Scarlet Witch and Spider-Man have been dominating the news cycle. Agatha, all along, I think was a lot better than a lot of people thought it was going to be, and there is now a ton of brand new imagery of the Scarlet Witch, reason to believe that all these rumors that they're in pre-development on a solo project might be true. The other huge news, obviously, was coming out of the Spider-Man camp, where we got reports that Sony and Marvel found a way forward, and that, in fact, Spider-Man would start shooting next year. But that sort of created a ripple that nobody talked about, because there's another huge movie that we expected Spider-Man to be a part of that is also shooting next year, in Avengers 5. Well, today we have an enormous breaking update coming from the most trusted of industry insider sources, talking about just that, how Marvel and Sony are going to negotiate and basically reconcile the fact that Avengers 5 and Spider-Man 4 are going to be filming at the exact same time, and what this means for Tom Holland. And we also got huge news about Spider-Man's role in that Avengers film. We're breaking it all down, Spider-Man 4 and Peter Parker in Avengers Doomsday. But first, if you could grab the subscribe button. We do daily Marvel content at the channel. That's all we do, everything from official Easter egg breakdowns, trailers, and reviews, to the occasional industry insider report like we're covering today, and everything in between. So if that sort of thing's for you, hit the sub button, leave a comment down below. That automatically enters you to win our ongoing PS5 giveaway. If you want, stick around to the end of the video. We get into all the giveaway stuff again there. Okay, so this was the latest coming from Daniel Rickman. You guys can follow him over on Twitter at DanielRPK. He had a huge update for Avengers Doomsday and Spider-Man 4, and this is what it said, quote, "I've confirmed that Tom Holland is returning and will have a major role in Avengers Doomsday. With both Spider-Man 4 and Doomsday scheduled to film in early 2025, some were unsure how he would manage both projects, but it seems they have a plan in place." Which, if you're reading the tea leaves on this, most likely means they're going to be shooting concurrently the way that Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame were shot. That means at the same time, which means their locations will probably be relative, and I'm guessing both will take place and shoot in London. Now, if there were any questions as to whether or not Spider-Man 4 would be a prequel or involved in the Multiverse saga, I think this makes it pretty clear. Again, just reading between the lines, if these stories are going to be shooting in at the same time, I'm very certain that Destin Daniel Cretton will be sharing extensive notes with both Kevin Feige and the Russos as they work on both of these stories as part of a greater narrative. Now, also keep in mind, the same thing happened at Marvel Studios for Infinity War and Avengers Endgame, where multiple directors were all listed as executive producers and were constantly giving their notes and input on their respective characters. For instance, James Gunn reading the script for Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame, giving notes about the scenes and dialogue for, of course, specifically the Guardians of the Galaxy, but the story as a whole. So it definitely is still very much movie and story by committee, but mostly so that they keep the continuity right and don't get major mistakes happening with movies that are coming out in the same calendar year. Now, speaking of Infinity War and Avengers Endgame, Daniel Rickman also added the detail that, quote, "Holland's role in Doomsday will be more significant than it was in Avengers Infinity War and Endgame." Now, I think it's fair to say there's some ambiguity here, because obviously Peter Parker wasn't really present in Avengers Endgame like all the other characters that got dusted until the third act and final battle. But as far as Infinity War is concerned, he was in a ton of that. So I think this clearly indicates that while we had originally heard rumors that the big three for the Avengers in Avengers 5 might look like Shuri, Black Panther, Sam Wilson's Cap, and Shang-Chi, that Marvel is not going to skip focusing on, of course, what's their more popular IP, but incidentally happens to be the same characters that we're hoping for in this film. So yeah, we're going to get some Sam Wilson's Cap, undoubtedly a lot of characters like presumably Star-Lord, who's been on Earth and we were told would return at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 3, but Kevin Feige's latest quote about them not cramming 100,000 characters into each film and having to make choices, I think this leaves a door open for Doctor Strange, Thor, a lot of the bigger and more powerful characters that they've had left and since the Infinity Saga, with honestly a lot of major hitters now in the sleeper category, where, say, we have not seen Adam Warlock come to his full power set, and they're about to introduce Sentry in the Thunderbolts. Now, besides promising to bring in some of the biggest characters and make huge crossovers happen in Avengers 5 before we even get to Avengers Secret Wars, I think this means huge implications for what's about to happen in Spider-Man 4, because presumably wherever that story ends in Avengers 5 and before Spider-Man 4 comes out means that he's going to be stuck in a precarious position with the multiverse probably already in the shape of Battleworld. And while there have always been contractual agreements on Sony's side to feature at least one big Avenger, in all of the Spider-Man films, this one promises to have several, and I think what might be a huge opportunity for Marvel Studios to treat this as an Avengers 5.5 and huge extension of the narrative, the same way they did with Avengers Civil War in a 2.5 scenario, because you're just going to need to include so many of these characters to make the story make sense and presumably have connective tissue between the two Avengers films. So at this rate, it really goes beyond just continuity and not wanting to make mistakes, but really conductivity, basically being a huge vehicle for Marvel Studios and another Avengers films for them to tell an extension of the story. And this is what I've been saying all along. They didn't want to decrease the agency of any of the films that come out around the Multiverse saga by making them prequels the same way they did with Captain Marvel, because obviously it makes it way easier. You don't have to tie to the story directly, but that doesn't have the same level of intrigue, the same level of stakes as when it's right in the middle of what's happening. Obviously gives them challenges to make a film like that because what if the state of the multiverse is going to be. But this is why we've been saying now for weeks that they really had no choice but to make this a multiverse movie. And Sony, who again may have played their cards mistakenly in waiting this long to get the Spider-Man film done, actually played it exactly right, because Marvel had no choice but to let them make a huge multiverse outing. But you guys let me know all your thoughts down below, who you want to see primarily in Avengers 5. I'm sure Hugh Jackman's Wolverine and Peter Parker is a dream matchup, but who else you got as far as rounding out that Avengers team? And what do you think that film is going to end like? Where do you think the multiverse is going to be entering Spider-Man 4? I'm all ears as always. Quickly, let's get into the giveaway stuff before I let you go. All right, we are still giving away PlayStation 5s at the channel until the PlayStation 5 Pro comes out. Super simple to be entered to win or for any of the other giveaways at the channel. All you got to do, hit the sub button, leave a comment down below, because it's truly random. The more videos you comment on, the better chance you have of winning. All winners will always be announced live with my voice and during this end section of the video with the winning comment shown on screen when there is one. So please be safe and vigilant, really, on YouTube or any other platform. There are a ton of people always trying to steal content creators' photos and trying to dupe you into giving up your information on a third-party app like Telegram or WhatsApp in order to charge you for shipping for a prize that doesn't exist. Remember, we don't give away prizes every single day, and no YouTuber, no content creator anywhere is ever going to charge you for shipping. So please, again, be safe, be vigilant on any platform. If you should get a comment like this, just report it directly to YouTube. They are very good about deleting those accounts swiftly, and that means that everywhere that account has commented, it gets deleted. So really, you're doing a huge service for everybody. My name is Michael Roman. You can find me in a couple of places, Instagram and Twitter at I'mFires. You can also find me on Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, Apple, iTunes, wherever you listen to original music under the name AllFires. And while I would sincerely appreciate you checking out my music, thanks for checking this channel out. Stick around. We'll be posting again real soon.